Caucasus region is among the top regions that host the most diversity of languages, such as Indonesia and India. As you know, in the world, according to some linguists, approximately there are 8,000 languages. According to some others, there are 5,500 languages in all over the world. Caucasus has always attracted the attentions of the linguists. Even in the history, many people interested in the language of the Caucasia. Strabon says this, when any caravan comes to Caucasia region, they come with an army of, with a very big group of translators with them, because in even some villages have their own language. There are three major language groups spoken in Caucasus. The first one is Caucasic language, the second one is Turkic, and the third one is Iranic language. But mostly, the biggest group of these languages are Caucasic language. Today, over the high Caucasus mountains, from the summits to the foot of the mountain, there are approximately 80 for some other people. 40 different languages are being spoken for some other thinkers. When we look at the ethnic composition of Caucasia, we can understand the diversity of the language in the region. The region, the Caucasus, chain of Caucasus mountains comes through this region, and it divides into the two geographical parts: North Caucasia region, and South Caucasia region. Today I will tell some stories about North Caucasian language of North Caucasian language. It starts from this region. Some of them are probably you will hear the first time this name of this language, such as Kinaluk, Yergüç, Sapurs, Rutuls, Avuls. I think you are first time hearing about something on this language. But there are some other big groups such as Avars, Tumuks, Chechens, Ingush, Ossets, Karachay, Cherkes, Kabardeyis, Cherkes, and Balkars. In fact, some of these groups are directly linked to each other, and their languages are mutually understandable. But because of some political issues in the Russian times, previous times, these groups has been divided separately, such as Karachays and Balkars. They in fact speak in the same language. There is only one difference in the language. It is related to the one letter, J and Z. It's all. There is not any difference between other words. Lexicologically and semantically, these languages are totally same. In addition, for the Cherkes, Kabardeyis, and Adıgeyiz, they are speaking in the same language, but with some variants, I can say. We can call them as accents, not as language, in fact. We can see another map related to the language and the ethnic composition. Abkhaz, Karachay, Balkar, Kabardey, Ossetians, Ingush, Chechens, Nogais, Kumuk, Avar, Laks, Dargin, Azeris, and Lezgis, and some other mountainous nations of the Caucasia in the Azerbaijan field. Of course, the of course, one of the biggest language in the region is Georgian language, but there is not any proof that Georgian language is relative with the North Caucasian language from this side. But when we look at according to the groups, if we say something, for example, Turkic group, Karachay, Balkar, Nogay, Kumuk, and Azeri. Iranian languages are Ossetian, and Tati group. We say Iranian language, but they came here approximately 2,000 years ago. 2,000 years ago. And this language, Osset language, is very interesting language. If you lexicologically research on this, you can find many things related to the Indo-European roots and also Iranian roots. It is really very interesting. But Tati language is a kind of accent of modern Persian. It is approximately separated from the main group approximately 1,000 years ago. But when we look at the Caucasian region, mostly these people from the Abkhaz, from the coast of the Black Sea and from coast of the Caspian Sea to Caspian Sea, if we check the language of these groups, we can find many similarities. I repeat here, semantically and lexicologically, if we compare, we can find very big similarities between these languages. This one and another one. This is the border. Russian talks Zakavkaza. Zakavkaza means over the Caucasian. Just here we can see Northeast Caucasian language. It includes all Dagestani language which are related to the Caucasian root. The second one is Chechen and English language. These are Northeast Caucasian family. The second group is Northwest Caucasian language, Kabardey, Cherkess and Adige language, and also it is related to the Abkhazian language. And there was a language just here, Ubykh language. The last speaker of Ubykh language was in Turkey. He was living in Balıkesir, Manyas province. That's my province, in fact. He was the last speaker of this language, and he died in 1879. So this language extincted from the world. We cannot find this. Only a very famous linguist, probably you know, George Dumezil, came to Turkey and recorded all the sounds or all the voices and words of this language. It is very interesting. Just here, I would like to remind this, only 150 years ago, all this region was full of Adigeys and Cherkess. Later, they expelled to the Turkey from this region, and it was one of the biggest migration during the human history. 1.5 million people expelled from their countries to the other countries. But it was before the Armenian migration. I would like to remind this. Let's pass the other. If you want to see all the related maps, I advise you a German site, Titus Uni Frankfurt there. It is really very exciting resources for the people who are dealing with this title. Let's pass the other one. One of the most eminent scholar, Starostin, he wrote many articles about the Caucasian language, and secondly, Schulz from Western Europe. They wrote many articles about this issue, and you can see just here totally the diversity of Kazakhstan, mainly we call in Turkey as Caucasian group, but only one of them has been extinct. Hattic group, Hatti or Hittite group has been extinct. This language has been solved, understood by the language of the Northeast language. It is very interesting. Secondly, North Dagestan group is Dagestanian, and it is North and Dagestan group. North group is Chechen Ingush and Bats. It is very small amount of people in Georgia. But Chechens are the second biggest group after the Georgians in all region. They are approximately 1.5 million. Thirdly, by the way, I can remind you there are two extinct languages, Urartian and Hurrian. They were living in the northeast part of the Turkey, and they extincted. According to the Armenian thesis, these people are related to the Armenians, but according to the lexicological research, all the people who are related with this issue, except the Armenians, accept that these languages are directly related to the Chechenian and Ingushian language. And personally, I found many findings related to the Tabasaran language and Urartian language. Minimum, I found 50 similar words. They come from the same roots. Other group is Avarandi, Laktarva and Lesbic groups. As you see, there are so many languages here. None of these languages have mutual understanding. They are not mutual understandable, but I would like to emphasize it just here. Our language includes all these languages, and they are, some of them are only talking in, only speaking in one or two villages, and our language is as a main language includes all these languages, and it becomes a formal language of the Dagestani region. And also I can say the same things. The main group here is Lezgis and Tabasaras. Both of these groups using the same alphabet, their vocabulary is very similar to each other. And other small groups, and Hinaluk, for example, they live in Azerbaijan, and Archi and Hinaluk languages are spoken only in one village. There is not any other village are speaking in this language. It is very interesting. Please warn me. Okay. And just here, this is Glata chronologic model, which has been prepared by Starostin, that shows all these languages come from the same root approximately 5,000 years ago. 5,000 years ago. It is really very ancient times, we can say. And just here, in fact, this was my main topic, numbers. I compared the language numbers according 1, 2, and 10. When we look at the Ubud language, that I said it is extinct now. Za, tkwa, je. Avaz, aki, gwa, jizba. Kabardey, za, ka, se. Adige, za, ka, se. But I will count in other things. Now, in Chechen language, sa, she, it. So, she, it in English language. Here, our Andi group, se, kiko, ansko. I don't want to pronounce all of them. Mostly these languages are used labial, glottal, and pharyngeal voices. Sometimes it can be funny for you. I don't want to use all of them. I can say, but I don't want to. Laktargi group, sa, ki, as. Darba, sa, kel, vesal. In this Lezgi Alpan group, the main group is Lezgian, sa. Sometimes it is used as sad. For ped or ke. It is used like this one. just here. Please, let's check together. Let's check the first number. Sa. S. Do you see here? S, S. S, 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 S. It goes on, except this one. And still it goes on. Has. All the linguists know the letter can change sometimes inside the word. Sub, has, sis, host. In all words, you can see the word, letter S. And tabasana, this is different. For the two, number 2, in our ki, we say in Turkish iki also. Ki, che, ke, keda, echida, kera, keya, keda. In fact, I'm keeping my study for another title, for another articles. All the I don't want to explain all the things just here, but this is the first in all over the world. This is the first one. The second will be related to these suffixes in these numbers. Go, gu, da, de, ja, no. I know meanings of these. What does it mean? I know this, but I'm keeping them for another article. I'm just finishing, sorry. For the 10, you can see the same s, but this one is not s, ts. It is another character. Also, you use it in Bosnian language. For example, as an example, in Slavic language, yitzilla, or in Kyrgyz language, yitzite. Ts word. And just here, I would like to remind something. Tabasarans and Abaza. According to the historians, they never met together. They never come together during the historical times. Let's come to the back. Yes. Abkhazians are just here, and Tabasarans are here. And they never meet each other, but you can see the linguistic connection between Kup, Kupa, Yitsup, Yuzba. If you study on comparative linguistics, you can easily find this trace. As a conclusion, for number 1, all North Caucasian languages have Z and S letters or voices. For number 2, K and K letters or voices. For 10 numbers, S letters or voices. As a conclusion, all those words take their roots from proto-language. As a proto-language of Caucasian, it must be included as Sa, Ka, and Sa as the root words. All of those languages differentiate with some tags or appendix according to their own semantic mentality of language. I'm keeping here, I try to tell some things about the lexicological comparison between these language, but just here, as I said before, I will prepare another article about semantic mentality of language. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Yücel. Do you have any questions, please?
Director, I'm asking. Thank you for your great presentation. I just wonder about the Turkic origin words spoken in Caucasian area. Do you have any number about that?
There are thousands of loan words in Caucasian language. In fact, in Abkhaz language, in Adige language, you can find many words who are coming from especially Kumuk language or Karachay language or Azeri language. For example, in Lezgi language, which has been spoken in the south part of the Azerbaijan, half of the language is coming from Turkish language. Half. In literature, you can, if you are a clever man, you can find everything in Turkish there. Approximately, you can understand half of it. For example, I would like to give another example. I didn't say anything about the Turkish language of the Caucasia. Just here you can see the similarity, not similarity, it is in fact in an accent. It is not a different language. All the Turkish people can understand this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is exactly Turkish, you can understand this. And you can go on to the thousands and millions, it is exactly the same. But for the other language, for the Caucasian language, I have so many stories to tell you. In fact, probably I would write them. There are some common points with Ural-Altaic and some common points with Indo-Europeans. And you can find ancient traces of the people, probably our early ancestors were talking not in this language, not Caucasian language, not Turkish, not Iranian, not Arabian or Hebrew language. In fact, there are so many mythologies about language theories, but there must be a root language, which gave birth later to the other language. It is very hard to prove it now, but there are so many theories. For example, Nadene theory or Sino-Nadene Caucasian theory or Nostratic theory. It is very interesting theory, Nostratic. Probably if we have time for another session we can do. Yes, please.
One quick question.
Yep.
Sorry.
You mentioned these numbers 1, 2, and 10. So how did you notice the similarities? I mean, why these numbers?
In fact, nowadays I am writing a book about North Caucasian language, a comparative linguistic of North Caucasian language. Now I completed 200 pages, but still going on to write. After I complete all my study, I think it will be approximately 250 pages. When I am started to do this, but it started in fact from my childhood. When I was 12 years old, I started to not study on, but interestingly with this Karachay language. It is very similar to Turkish language, and I started to make a kind of puzzle. It looks like a mathematic for me. I started with Karachay, later I passed to Nogay language, later on I passed to the Balkar language, and I started to compare all these languages. Later on, I started to study on a very specific field of the language. When I met an Azerbaijani linguist in Bakü, I said I am studying on Northeast Caucasian language. He said, you must be crazy. No one dared to study on this. But this is really very specific field and very hard field to work. And if you are not a native speaker of this language, it is really very hard to pronounce this language. Ubud language, for example, I said extinctive language. One of them, they had 80 letters, 80 voices. Can you imagine this? In Turkish we have 30 approximately. In some other language, in Arabic, I think we have 24. Yes, many languages have 24, 30, maximum 35. But in that language it was 80 different languages. You will say, how can we say, how many letters do they have? I will give some example. For example, labial, m. It is different. M and m is different. And s, c, z, z. 5 characters, different characters. And if you say k, 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 K. 5 different characters. And every of them can change the meaning of the word.
One another question and we will be done.
Okay.
Thank you, dear Professor. Timely and important topic. But wonder for me, you didn't mention anything about Armenian language.
Yeah.
Well, as I know, there are near 6 million
Yes.
speaking with that
Yes.
language. Armenians live in Turkey, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and 4 million in Armenia by themselves.
Yes.
And there is 2 dialects.
Yes.
Western East of Armenian language, but you didn't mention anything.
Yes, I didn't mention because our title is North Caucasian language. Armenian, Georgian,
So-
and Azerbaijan language are South Caucasian language.
Yeah.
Because of that, I didn't mention anything about this. Of course, Georgian is very important also. Approximately 4 million people are speaking in Georgian people. Also, some people in Iran, as I know. In Armenian and in
Yes.
Georgian, they are talking.
250,000 people living in Iraq.
As Armenian?
Living in Iraq.
Yes.
One more question.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Good afternoon,
Good
Professor.
afternoon.
I just wanted to ask you if those languages are still present in today's, or they are extinct.
Sorry.
Are they still present or they are extinct?
Yes,
All these languages.
all of these languages are still alive, except some of them, such as Ubykh language. They are still alive. Of course, there are Urartu language, Hurrian, and Hattu language. They were not spoken in this region. They were spoken in the Anatolia, but they extinct totally.
Thank you very much, Professor. Now,
If I
more
bored,
questions.
I'm sorry for this.